All right. Good evening, platform viewers. Welcome back to another evening of the platform. We have a special guest panel this evening, as usual. We always have special guests on the platform, but this evening we're talking about women and what men need to know about women in love. And so, who else better to speak about what men need to know about women than a panel of women? So, men, get your pen and paper out, write your questions down, think about it before you put it in a chat. We want to hear from you, chat and comment. So, again, we want to welcome you to the platform, and I want to show our special guests that we have here tonight. So, this evening, we have Miss Ingrid that's waving up there. There we go. We have Miss Andrea. Wave. And we have Miss Jada. There we go. And these dynamic ladies are going to school all of us tonight as we dive into this topic and talking about what men need to know about women in love. So, men, get ready. Women, we want to hear from you too. Please chat in. We want to hear you. So, let's dive right in without hesitation. So, what exactly are women looking for in a man to date or marry? We're going to start with a loaded question right on the top, right at the top.
Oh, I got a whole list.
Remember that we got other women on the panel, so that, maybe just a few of them off the list.
I made a list, child. Let me tell you. But no, first things I was just thinking of, definitely someone who has a relationship with Christ. I feel like it's not the thing that just feel like, oh, because they have a relationship with Christ, they're just going to be perfect. But I feel like, you are able to overcome and a lot of obstacles or challenges that they come about and be guided by the right source. So I definitely feel like having a relationship with Christ is priority, loyalty, honesty, integrity, accountability, dependability, someone who's ambitious, a friend, someone who's considerate, who's kind, selfless, respectful. And if you are a woman who wants a family, making sure that they're like family oriented and want children one day. Right. And someone affectionate and loving. So
that's all right, good. That's what's up. All right, ladies. Did she steal your item from the list?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that you said, Andrea, but two things: he has to be employed and not live in his mama's house. Okay.
Yes.
That's right. 3 things up on that. That's right. Employed and not in the mama's house.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh gosh. Jada, what do you think?
I think that Miss Andrea stole all of mine. She took all of them. I had about 6 or 7 on the list. She came out with 30.
Well, you know what? What's important, we got the time to unpack some of those things. Now, imagine a man on the other end of the screen listening to you, taking notes. They in your class, women, what makes women tick 101, and they're sitting down in front of you and they're like, whoa, I just had this huge list. I don't really know how that translates into regular everyday living. Like, what does that look like to be a man of integrity? What does that look like? I mean, some things are straightforward. You're employed. And we're talking about legal employment. Legal employment, let me clarify that. Legal employment, legally employed. So unpack some of those things on the list. Anyone can speak.
Jada,
go ahead, Jada.
I want to unpack consideration. I think that's big to me. That was a big one on my list because a lot of men lack in that department. Like, we're always having to voice what we're feeling or how we're feeling, and very little consideration is given. Like, for example, after a long day of work, a tough day, it's end of the month, reports due, whatever the case may be, you see them under a lot of stress, then don't bring any more stress to my table tonight after I just got off work and got home. That's consideration right there. Like,
I agree totally.
100%. I like that.
Totally agree.
Yes, me too.
All
I
right,
like
Miss
that.
Ingrid, what you going to say? I'll unpack some of those things that was on that master list. On the master list.
I know, right?
What else was on there? Integrity is also important because it's not just about what you do in front of me, it's about what you do behind me.
Exactly.
Your character when I'm not in the room, when I'm not around, when you're out on business, wherever the
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I need to be in your heart. I still need to be a priority to you. My feelings should still matter to you. You should still be a man of integrity no matter where you are.
That's right.
I
Absolutely.
like that. I like that. Jada, I'm going to sign
Absolutely.
up for your class. Can I sign up and sit up in front? Oh, I like that. I like how you put that.
Oh yes.
What else came on your? What was else on the master list, Andrea?
Just someone who's accountable and dependable. Basically, when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it, and just very communicative if you're unable to do something.
Yes.
But having someone who's accountable and trustworthy, you feel like that's someone that you can trust with your heart, and not someone who's going to take you for granted or take your time and the things that you value and hold dear to you, as less than or not as important, but, have enough consideration and what, going back to what Jada was saying, for the things that are not just important to them, but are important to you as well, and wanting to, not always be about themselves, but, having that accountability and dependability, and then just knowing too, like nobody, and then if you make a mistake, taking accountability for it and not trying to, gaslight me or trying to manipulate the situation or flip it on me and trying to make me responsible for your actions, and just taking accountability for yourself, as I will hold myself to the same standard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Miss Ingrid, I want to hear from you, darling. I want to hear from you because I know you have something to share.
Oh yeah.
I know you have something to share.
No, I think everything. I agree with everything that Andrea and Jada are saying. I think honesty is so important, and it's important that you are a person of your word. And as women, we have to make men, like you said, accountable. So if you say you're going to come up, pick me up at 5:00, then you can't show up at 5:30 or 6:00 or 6:15. And then recently I had somebody said, okay, I'm going to be here at a certain time. But you called me like 10 minutes before. And I'm like, no, we're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You said we want this amount of time, and then you didn't show up. You got to make them, and from that lesson, then it didn't happen anymore. So you have to be a woman and a man of your word, and it's up to us because people can only do what you allow. So let's come on, let's make it happen.
That's right. That's right.
And the big one is respect. And I think once you establish those boundaries and establish that, this is not going to be tolerated, like, Ingrid just said, then that kind of sets the tone for the relationship. But you allow certain things to happen early on, they're just going to continue. They're just going to keep trying to push that boundary as far as they can go until you set the tone and say, no, this is not acceptable. And it's, and then also having the strength sometimes too, if it's not working out, to be able to walk away.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, for those who are joining us if on the platform, viewers, we are here with a wonderful panel of dynamic women who have much they want to school all the viewers on what makes women feel loved and respected. And we want men to know these things. And so if you have questions or any doubts, or maybe you're more knowledgeable than we think you are, we want to hear from you. Please chat your comments and your questions. Again, this is the platform. And so I'm going to turn back to our panel and think, so what do women find attractive in a man?
I think if I can speak, and I'm in a different age demographic, probably all between like the 40s and 50s. I think definitely, like you said, we want him to be employed. Number one, I think we look at, like, especially you got to be careful now with, COVID, people wearing masks. So, we hope, you know what I'm saying? Just let them be together. You know what I'm saying? So, So, but we want, but it's important that a person like women, we like, I know, kicking it straight old school, well groomed. I mean, your hair is done, your shoes are nice, whether they're from Tim's or tennis shoes or dress shoes, that they are, you know what I'm saying? And that you're neat and you smell good. We always like a brother to smell good.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Investors who smell good, man.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
So I think that those are hygiene. There are little things, but yeah, because I'm gonna tell you something funny. I'm gonna let you go. It was a guy. He was fine, like I said, those masks or something. Baby, when he took that mask off, you could smell his breath from where you are in Alabama. I was like, I'm telling you, hygiene is. I'm telling you something.
Oh no!
Oh gosh! And you know what? I just brought that up. We're not trying to discourage anybody. If you have halitosis or some medical problems, we want to encourage you to make an appointment at the dentist and get the care that you need to be the best you that you can be. But I think it's important that we tend. Physical attractiveness is important. How you are presenting yourself to the world is important. So, how important is that physical attractiveness to women? How, we all hear about men. We know men, we want our women stacked, we want them this, that. They got a whole list. But for women, I know, just in my opinion, I feel like women sometimes are a little more willing to sacrifice some of the physical attributes for other things like character, integrity, trust, gainfully employed, stability. These things, we're like, okay, is he my goal list, my fantasy man? No, but that. So what do you think about that? How important is physical attractiveness to women?
I feel like it's important, but it's not everything. Because I do feel like people be lying if they say, "Oh, you don't have to be attracted to him." God bless you. Like, I just feel like sometimes people be, it's like, come on, let's be real. You do have to have some level of attraction to your partner, significant other, especially to, because you got to think down the road. You got to fulfill those marital duties, and you have to be somewhat attracted to your, significant other. If we, but I definitely feel like we've been in situations where it's like they may not have been like someone that will catch your eye right away, but the more you get to know them, their personality, they have a lot of charisma, they're funny, these are other things, and the good qualities that we mentioned before, those are things that can definitely heighten someone's look. And like before, you're like, oh, I didn't really see him like that, so I'm kind of the friend zone, what we call it. But it's like, now he's starting to look good, and then you just kind of like, that's kind of happy. I feel like for women, it's more of an emotional attachment, more so than that physical. But I mean, not to say the physical is not important, but it's not everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
I feel like the attractiveness is only a small piece of the puzzle. I feel like most women, including myself, I'm more concerned with social and financial status. Like, is he a provider? Is he a protector? Is he paid? Those are my top 3 things right now. Attractiveness, we can negotiate on that. You can have the full package. I just need you to be bringing some money into this household, taking care of the family.
Absolutely. So, Ingrid or Andrew, you want to say anything else? I don't want to cut you off there.
You all said it all. We can.
So that's good, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Jada, about a man that's paid or having stable income. So when you hear women say, "Hey, I'm looking for a man that makes good money," is this woman looking for security, or is she being a gold digger? Because I hear that a lot from men. She a gold digger. Like, what does that mean?
Security for sure. I think men just made up that gold digging word to stop keeping themselves accountable for going out here and hustling and doing their manly duties. Like, there's no gold digger. You're either a man of means or you're not. We're security out here. If you're gonna be my rib, my partner, like, we're married for life. Like, I need to be secure. I need to know that I'm safe with you. I need to know that we won't be home tomorrow. So
That's right. I agree. And back in the day, a lot of the women stayed home and took care of kids and stuff like that. And the men were provided. And I think the roles have changed. Society has allowed the roles to change. And where women are, becoming more gainfully employed and they're making more money than their men. But the key is not to emasculate the men, even if you make more money to them. And that's key too. We want to make sure our man still feels secure that he's the king of the house and we respect him, So.
Right.
Right. And I agree with everything they just said, because I don't necessarily my first thought is not to assume because a woman says that she's looking for a man that makes good money, because I just don't naturally assume that she's being shallow or like a gold digger. Because again, someone's standard of what is good money is subjective anyway. That could be someone just having a stable job or a millionaire or whatever your preference may be. But I definitely feel like, especially as Christian women too, I think it's kind of natural for us to see ourselves as like the helpmeet, and like consider ourselves being the better half or someone who is comparable to him. So when I say that, so when like women say, oh, I'm looking for someone to make good money, for me, it's just someone who's looking for someone who is like compatible with herself as well. And I don't see it as a negative, but rather like a preference as to where both he and the woman see their ministry as husband and wife being like
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like it takes a person of lesser stature or like a subject or a subordinate or something like that, but in actuality it means to be like even with or equal to. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's all about money, but being a helpmeet is like about being equal and necessary in a partnership.
Exactly.
I like that. And I think just throwing that out there, when you say, and I'm glad that you said that making good money is a subjective term, because it is. So for a man that's making $25,000 a year or $45,000 a year or 85 or $125,000 or more a year, where is it? Where do you draw the line, and where does it become, okay, you have stable income, you're making good money versus when you're not? So if I'm a man and I'm making $25,000 a year, should I be trembling? Should I be shaking? Like, I'm not going to find anybody, nobody going to want me. I'm not going to be able to provide. So I'm trying to figure out, think, help me out, brothers. If you're out there listening and I'm totally messing this up for you, I need to hear from you. But I would want to know, like, hey, like, I'm a good brother. I'm working for a nonprofit. They're not paying me that well, but I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. Maybe not 25. Let's go in this DC DMV area. Let's go with $45,000 a year or 50. Let's go with that in DMV, a modest, income. What should I be okay with that, or should I be striving to get more? It's like, I'm only gonna get certain type of woman with this kind of salary. Should I strive for more? Am I just be okay where I am? Like, how much value are we attaching to salary?
It depends on like the value of the woman. I mean, if he wants to date on his level, then I suppose then that $45K would be just fine with a woman that's also on his level. But if you running into an ambitious woman who's a little bit more career driven, she's making twice that amount, then I don't think he's going to be along for the ride, because I know it would be.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like it goes back to just preference, and I feel like sometimes people take people having a preference as a insult or maybe like a jab at them, but it's like it's nothing personal to somebody else, and it doesn't mean that you're less than or you're not good or anything. It's like that is a person's preference, you know what I mean? And not to take it like it's an attack against who you are because that's not what you have, you know what I mean? And just knowing that everyone has that preference to choose and collab or whatever they want to do with whomever, they feel, God has called them to be with.
That's right.
Absolutely. And
okay, go ahead.
Well, what are you going to say?
I think it's different. I get all that. But if he's making $45,000 and he has a strong woman behind him, such as the wonderful women on this panel, it's like, I believe if you encourage him to say, okay, you might not make enough money, but let's make a business plan. What do you like doing? I mean, whether, whatever you're into, whether it's anything from landscaping to whatever. He can do Amazon. You just need, sometimes a good brother just needs a good push. You know what I'm saying? Because I have guys that I work with, and they're working 3 or 4 jobs. And so I'm a shout out to brothers. If you're making an effort,
I agree, and I totally agree with that, because I just feel like, and that's where it comes back to that list of someone who's being ambitious, where you see that they have
Absolutely.
a woman behind you could give you that push, or just give you the direction that you need sometimes, and that's why it's a loaded question, because there's so many different variables that can play into it. But I definitely agree with Ingrid and Jada, what they're saying. It's just, you can definitely, but the ambition has to be there, and the goal and the drive. You got a lot of people out here to talk a good game too, they got a lot of, they talk good, but they don't know follow through. But if you can see that there's follow through and there's some real passion and belief behind
Absolutely. And I think any brothers out there listening and feeling like, what are these ladies talking about? I'm gonna do what I do, or whatever. I really think in the end, you do what God's called you to do. You walk in your purpose and your vision for life. Strive to be the best that you can be, and your complement will come alongside. You will meet each other. God will open up opportunities for you to find that person that's your complement. And it's not anything wrong with wanting to have more financial security, be able to take care of your wife, take care of your children, your family, and do things, because nothing happens apart from vision and resources. And I agree with what Ingrid was saying. It's like, hey, money isn't everything. You're working hard, you're doing what you can, you're being financially responsible. I want to come alongside you and help grow that. And I think that's what the power of a woman can come in and do. But I also know that, it's a reality. There may be someone who may not be interested, who may be turned off. As soon as they hear that or see that, like, oh, I don't know about that. But that may not be the person for you. And that's okay. And I want to take a pause and go to our viewers, because our viewers are chatting in some questions here. We want to make sure some questions and comments. So one of our viewers said, I believe women look for spiritual leadership and security in a man too. Yeah. Anyone have any comments on that?
I agree.
I agree. That's it. That's right. I agree. That's it. And I think it's so good. This is such a wonderful conversation and unpacking these things. And so what we were kind of alluding to is kind of the question. I don't know if we answered it already, but are women comfortable dating or marrying men who make less than them, or are maybe they don't have the same educational attainments or skill set? Are women cool with that?
I think so. I think it also depends on women, but I think so, because I think it goes back to those attributes that we're looking for in a partner, and just knowing that it's so multifaceted, that goes into a relationship. But I definitely just think it depends on the woman, and I think for the most part, I don't think it'll be a big deal if a woman made more than her partner or her husband. I mean, I feel like as long as the respect and love and and he's fulfilling his roles as the man of the household and as a spiritual leader of that household, I feel like I don't think it'll be
right.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing from you, it doesn't have to be a deal breaker.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. As long as we're not, like you said, continue to what happens to emasculate our men, is like, like, you ain't bringing no money in the house,
right.
And it's like, well, look, I pay for this, I mean, if we don't do that, you know what I'm saying, then it'll be equal. So we have to, like I said, sometimes they just need a little push, But I mean, if they don't want to do anything, then that's different. But I think it's important, behind every man is a great woman. Okay.
Oh yes.
Absolutely. And I think if you bring on body emasculating a man, I have, and I think back in conversations that I've had with women that I've known, and many of them have made that mistake, and not unknowingly. Sometimes they don't really realize it, especially if you're an outspoken woman. Anything that comes to your mind comes right out your mouth, and it's not a lot of filters. So that's an area where you need to go. But that can come out like that. Well, I pay you. You can't tell me what to do. I pay for this. I'm making them. And then you're saying these things, and men's like, hold fast. You're not gonna disrespect me like that.
Yeah.
So how is it? Because I know we're talking about what men need to know about women, but I think it's important that we talk to other women about emasculation and what does that look like, and how all of that plays into how the man in your life can return that love to you. Because if we withdraw that respect, they withdraw the love from us. And that's part of that crazy cycle that we can get into in relationships sometimes. So let's unpack that and speak to that.
Yeah,
I agree, definitely. Like, I do feel like many women emasculate their men out of pure resentment. They feel like, I'm carrying the weight. You're my man. I can do bad all by myself. Why are you here if you're not contributing? And all these feelings come out. And it's hurtful to the man because now he's feeling like, oh, I must be worthless. Like, you say I'm not a man. Like, you say I'm a boy. You say I'm not taking care of you. His confidence is now shot. And then he doesn't even aspire to respect you or do anything nice for you or continue the relationship because he feels unworthy at this point.
That's right.
That's right.
We can take it even further as just say, for the sake of this particular audience, we're dealing with African American men who are already shot down, statistically, and they don't, unfortunately, when they leave the house, we don't know if they're going to come back to say. So you already have, unfortunately, a target on your back, and then you get home and you feel, you feel devalued. So we just have to be careful. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
You say it.
And so I think that's important, and we tend to do that. And sometimes, like you said, Natalie, it's unconsciously, but we have to be a little bit more considerate because I want somebody to treat me a certain kind of way. Just think in terms of how would I feel if you say some things to me that I feel to you. So you just gotta, and everything you gotta just look. And when we know better, we do better.
Do better.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I agree with everything.
And I wanted to turn to our viewers. One of our viewers chatting, how important is communication skills? How important is communication skills? Anyone on my panel want to address that question?
It is very important. If I'm not mistaken, I think communication's in that top 3 of why people get divorced.
Yeah.
And I just feel like communication, because it's not fair to hold your husband or your partner accountable for something that you have not discussed or talked to them openly about your feelings, your thoughts or opinions about something, and you're back resenting and getting angry and upset about something that they have no knowledge of. And vice versa, it's not fair for them to hold you accountable for something that you don't know that they're going through. And as close as you guys are, there's still things that you're learning and growing about yourself every day. Like, you're constantly growing and learning. So if you're not taking your partner on that journey of learning with you, and you get to a point at the end of that road, you look up and you're like, who is this? I don't know who this is. And that's just part of that communication of keeping them in the loop of just saying, even if something is so small as, man, I woke up this morning, I want to go bungee jumping. And they probably look at you crazy, like, what? Where did that come from? And then you can kind of unpack it, and it can be something as, small as that, or something as big as, I want to start a business, or, I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling whatever it is, like just bringing them in to what you're thinking and feeling, on a daily, weekly, basis, or wherever your check-ins are. Because I know that's something, kind of getting into my little personal life. That's something Chauncey and I do, like every month or so, because life sometimes, but we just do our monthly check-ins, like, hey, let's check the temperature. How we doing? How's it going? How you feeling? What's new? What's popping? We still good? All right, we good, and then, you just go on. But you have to have that, because life happens and you get into the monotony and the routine of taking care of the kids and ripping and running, and everybody got their own schedules and, agendas. can lose yourself in your relationship in that. So communication is definitely priority. And don't be afraid. And my biggest thing is like, don't be afraid to say what you feel and communicate exactly what you're saying or what you're feeling out of fear of hurting somebody or not knowing the response you're going to get. You know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes you hold back, like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I feel like eventually you're going to end up hurting yourself and your partner, holding that in. And I just feel like no matter how it is, if y'all have that foundation, that relationship, y'all can work through it and talk through it. But definitely if you hold it in and don't express it, it's only going to make things worse.
That's right. That's correct.
Absolutely. Anyone else want to sound off? How important is communication skills?
Go ahead, Jada.
Why are you always volunteering me?
Even like Jada.
You are young.
Jada, it's your turn.
We want to get from out.
Okay. I also feel like communication skills are important. I don't believe that we as human beings have the ability to read minds. So as Andrea was saying, it's not fair to your partner to leave them in the dark about how you may be feeling or what you may be going through. Like, especially if you're in a marriage. If you're in a marriage, you're supposed to be one. There shouldn't be in one bed and it feels like you're miles away. Because we haven't anything about what's going on. We haven't kept it real with each other. So communication is important to me, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I like that you shared, both of you, Jada and Andrea, it's important. You can't assume someone can read your mind. And I think so many arguments could be avoided if you didn't assume your spouse, your partner knew what you were thinking. And it's like you're coming from a whole different paradigm than your partner. You think differently, you have a different perspective, and you're coming from this different world even sometimes. And so you have these expectations like, oh, they know what I need. They know what I want. And you just start coming in on them. And then they could be taken off guard, like, whoa, I didn't know. I thought this, and that. And then there goes a crazy cycle. Everybody's screaming and yelling, and it's crazy. It's a hot mess. And you're like, what happened? I thought we were, in love and working with each other. And so I think what I have learned too is try to, not try to always address things right away. Give yourself time to calm down and to think. Because most of the time, what you were so hot on saying and what you were thinking, it really wasn't that important. Or it really was not, you could see the fallacy in your own thoughts if you calm down a little bit. But when you charging in right at the heat of the moment, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. So I've learned to, with communication, take your time. Try to calm down. It's very hard for me because I'm extroverted. I like to jump right out there. This is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going. I like to solve problems. Let's do this. Let's solve the problem. And they're like, no. I don't want to hear from you right now. I don't want to see you right now. I don't want to. I just need time to think. And so what I've learned is say, when is a good time that we can talk about this? Because I really have a lot I want to share with you, but I want to hear from you. When is it a good time to talk? And men love that. They love respect. Whew, pour it on greatness. Pour it on. I respect you. I don't want to. When is a good time for us to talk? And then let them respond. And it takes a lot of decorum and resolve to do that. And I don't always get it right. And it's so hard, but that's something you have to try. So I want to make sure I'm including our viewers in, because we running away with this, because this conversation is hot. The conversation is hot. So thank you. Our viewers saying absolutely in agreement with us. We have another question coming in. Dine out or home cook. I like that. And you know what? I think that helps me transition, because I think it's important. What should a man that's interested in a woman, how should he approach her for a date? What should he say? What should he not say? So I think we diving into the relationship aspects of it and the thick of it. And he's like, hold on, wait a minute. How do I even get you to go out to dinner with me? How do we start at step one? So, ladies, I want to hear from you. Dine out or home cook? Where do we begin?
Oh,
Well, I feel like it depends on the day.
no, it's gonna start out with because I know that you're okay and that you can cook and that you can clean and that you're clean and whatever like that. So you can't like now. I think with all of my friends we're talking about, they want to like have you over their house and stuff like that. It's like, no, you need to take me out. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that, so I think that's a new thing. You're like, oh, what you doing? What you doing? You want to come home? Or can I come over your house? No, you can't come to my house. You can't take me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need, it doesn't have to be 5 stars. Yes.
Right.
Can I get 3? I just don't, I just need 3 stars, That's it.
That's right.
Yes.
I don't know. Can we all agree that a date to McDonald's, please don't do it? Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do that.
I can say that with confidence. Please, on that regard.
No, don't do that.
Burger King, McDonald's, don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't walk away with nothing else, don't start with that.
Yes.
Anyone else, dine out or home cook, where does a man begin? How does he approach you? Where do you go?
Dine out. I think that this pandemic has made a lot of men lazy, where they feel like they can just use, everything's closed. Like, you should just come over, kick in and chill and hang out. No, we need to go out. We can wear our masks. There's some restaurants. I'm not coming over here. I don't know you yet.
Yeah, that is true.
Totally agree.
That's right. That's right. And that's a good boundary too, to say, you know what, let's not take it back to anyone's personal home. We're human beings. And we're designed to be attracted to each other. And if you're going out on a date with them, you're attracted to them anyway, more than likely. So, you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Let's go out in a public place, get to know each other, because you may get in trouble. You home cook, turn into something else. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So I think it's a good idea to dine out. Dine out.
Yes.
And you might want to dine out with other couples.
Yes. Oh, yes. And that's so funny because when I read that, it was so funny. My married brain was like, sometimes I don't feel like cooking. We're going to dine out, but then I just thought about like from the single perspective, I definitely agree with Ingrid and Jada. Like, no, we're dining out and we're not using COVID for an excuse.
Exactly.
That's right. And men don't get discouraged. We're not saying it has to be Ruth's Chris or something very expensive. We're not saying McDonald's either, but something nice. Coffee and tea. Can I say Panera Bread-ish? Fast casual, nice. Starbucks, it can be on the list. It doesn't have to be a bank breaker. But put some effort into it.
Yeah, and somewhere where you can talk, like somewhere where you can actually get to have a conversation and not someplace where it's kind of like, you're so distracted by other things. Where
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In a place where, and it's not good, you can't get to know each other. The music's so loud, all you can see is their mouth moving. And you're like, I don't know, you're yelling at each other. You like this song? It's just horrible.
Like, what you say?
Yeah, I know. And you really can't, it's just too much. So if anyone out there, just a place that's public, that's casual and friendly, and then it's conducive for a conversation. Any other thoughts on that?
You got it.
That's right. Okay. So what should a man say if he was approaching you? Say, I'm interested in Ingrid. I've been watching her. This woman, boy, she is a fine, seasoned woman. Hardworking, professional. I'll do anything to get close to this lady. How should he approach? I can imagine, as women, we expect to be approached and men to come to us. And, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So we know we are expecting to be sought after. But I can kind of imagine on the other side, that's a lot of pressure. Like, what do I say? If I say something, I might turn her off and she'll run away. Where do I go? What should I say? Any guidance you have on for men?
I mean, well, I think you should just be honest. To say, "Hey, how you doing?" Introduce yourself.
Mhm.
Look, if you don't want to, if you feel uncomfortable asking her for a number, it's like, "Hey, I'd like to know you a little better. Hey, here's my number." And if you feel compelled to give me a call, I just think you're nice. I like your smile. So let's get to know each other. So just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be like,
Mhm.
you look so good that I want to stop you up in a biscuit. That's happened. Or you don't. And what you don't want to say, like you said, what you don't want to say, you don't make any comments about a woman's anatomy or anything like that.
Yes.
That happens a lot. So I think we just keep it 100 and say, hey, I'm interested in you. You seem like a nice person. I like to let's go get coffee at Starbucks or something like that. And give them, you can give her your number. So that's that.
Yeah, I like that. So don't start off with like, "Whoa, you got some sexy lips." You know what? I think it's more lustful. I think it's more lustful. You got more lustful spirit. I don't think so. They're like throw me off. So don't start with that. Don't start with that. Even if you think it's sexy to yourself, maybe start with something else.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You might not get the reaction that you're expecting.
Exactly.
Anything else? Because I feel like I would want to know this. I would want to know this if I was a man. I wouldn't I don't know. Can you ever listen to men try to school other men about how to approach women? Have you ever listened to them conversations?
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh, those train wrecks.
I just feel like, just like Ingrid said, I don't feel like you could go wrong with just 100. Being honest, being upfront, being respectful. I feel like you can't go wrong. You put a little personality in there, a little charisma, but nothing disrespectful, overly sexualized. They say, "Girl, I saw them hips switching from across the street."
Like, oh gosh,
nothing crazy. But
I'm talking about a Brazilian booty and all of that. No, that's no.
Like none of them crazy pickup lines, but I feel like just keep it 100 and honest and respectful and put your personality in there. I feel like you can't lose.
Absolutely, and I think what I'm hearing from that is just confidence. Be confident in who you are, not arrogant. Not a lot of women love to be with me. Hold up, you know what? I don't think so. Not me. So it's nothing wrong being. Just be confident and secure in who you are. And I like what Ingrid said. Keep it simple and don't go crazy. And I have some viewers kind of chatting in about McDonald's, saying McCafe. So yes, okay, McDonald's try to step it up a little bit, and they had the McCafe now. So I guess you can get a frappe. So maybe there are some exceptions. Maybe there's some exceptions where you can dine and chat at the McCafe. We don't have to call it McDonald's. We can call it the McCafe. So okay, we're not hating on McDonald's. We love your fries.
Yes, sweet and sour sauce.
Absolutely. So it's not maybe that can be a later date, but maybe not the first date. How about that?
Right.
Oh God! So what key things should a man do when they're dating a woman? What key things should they do? They done gone beyond. They done put their line out there. They done made the leap of faith. Now we're going out. The first date was successful. Maybe now we're going on to the second one. Maybe there might be a third. What can they do? What should they do? What key things should a man do?
I just continue to get to know her. Like don't rush the relationship. Like just take your time and get to know the person. And, because I know sometimes as women, I know we can start seeing the wedding bells and the churches and the kids and the dogs, fence, 3 weeks in, and we already got the.
That's right. And I will admit, I have tried some last names with my name.
My name, and and they are like, their mind is just totally not there. And but just really taking your time to get to know that person. And I feel like it, in a way, it kind of protects you a little bit too. It keeps you guarded, not guarded in the sense where you're not open to the relationship, but it keeps you from rushing and making, premature decisions and stuff like that, where you could really get to know someone, because someone can be somebody else.
That's what.
Boy,
I call it for 6 months before the real person comes out. So like, just gotta take your time, just continue to get to know her, and y'all, share your dreams, your thoughts, your opinions, your values, like things that you are, building upon, and building a friendship, and really building a friendship, and just like doing things to uplift and empower her, even if you guys don't work out, but constantly just instilling and empowering and being a positive influence in that woman's life, even if you feel like you guys aren't going to work out, or if you do, that's even better. But
That's great.
Right, definitely. To add on to that, I have to say, some key things men should do, like while dating women. I'd have to say being intentional. I think it's very important for a man to be about what he says he's about. So I think consistency in those stages is very important. Following through, following up on your word, doing what you said you do, being a man of action instead of just describing the type of man you are.
That's a whole word right there.
I'm telling you, I'm going to Jada's class. I'm right in the front row. I'm telling you, Jada, I love the way you think, Mama.
Oh, yes.
But I like that. I might steal that quote. That's right. Anyone else?
I definitely would like to add to it. I agree with everything Andrea and Jada said too. But for men, if you are 40 and older, please do not text. Okay, they pick up the phone sometimes. The phone. I mean, we grown people.
Yes.
And that's for the younger generations. Nothing wrong with it. If you're busy, you're at work, hey, how you doing, whatever. But don't text me a bunch. Pick up the phone. So because I can't, my fingers can't move that fast. So just pick up the phone. But I mean, just like you said, be consistent. I think it's important, and just still date and bring your flowers every now and then. Just like just because of COVID, a lot of people not doing a lot of in-person stuff. But hey, if she does, like, for example, if she likes McDonald's, coffee or whatever the situation is, send her an Uber meal or something, or a gift like that. It's the little things you can do. It doesn't have to be a lot. But if it's something that that person likes, just do it. And it doesn't have to be a birthday or a special occasion for, like I said, you to do flowers or take her out of a meal or picnic or something just nice, just because gift. You know what I'm saying? So just keep it consistent. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I think too, chivalry is not dead. I know that men kind of get a mixed review on that. Sometimes, men being just courteous will open the door for women, and they're not necessarily someone they're interested in dating. They're just being kind and respectful. And some women turn around and shoot back. I don't need you. I got it. These things they do happen. So, I apologize on behalf of the men who's trying to be chivalrous and women ate you up alive. I apologize for that. But I think personally, I appreciate a man pulling the chair out for me, opening the door for me. I'm a strong, independent woman, but I like to be a lamb too. I don't want to be a lion all the time. So I'm okay with being a lamb. And yes, open the doors for me. Do all those kinds of things. They make me feel good, really good. I don't know. What do you ladies have to say about that?
I totally agree. Like, I love the chivalry. Open the doors for me, pull out my chair, bring me flowers. I love it all. I will be that little lamb. Bad.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was kind of pointing back to what Ingrid was saying earlier about sometimes women be emasculating their man. I think it's a dance, it's an art. But learning women be the lion and women be the lamb is it takes wisdom, trial and error, open communication, and humility. Because there are times where you may not realize you being a lion and you're devouring your man with your words, and your attitude, and you have to, and you have to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was being ridiculous, and disrespecting you like that, and I apologize, and I want to do better and make changes. But don't just apologize and not make any changes now.
Right.
So you do have to make some changes, turn around, repent, and make some good changes. But but we're all a work in progress, and nobody's perfect. But I do think that lion and the lamb phenomenon, you have to work through that with wisdom.
Right.
Yes. You know what? One of our viewers, I want to go back, ask the question of like, when is it okay to meet the parents or the family? And I put that out there, and it kind of came off the screen, but I want to bring it back. But when is it okay? Because I think that's important.
I feel like when you know that you guys are getting serious and moving to the next, phase of your relationship, because I feel like you don't want to introduce them prematurely, because, family can be kind of cruel. They like, girl, this is number 4 this week. I ain't it.
I think you need to slow down.
So, you're like, girl, you running through them, ain't you? They ain't about a week, So you definitely, when you're getting serious with this person, like have agreed that, okay, now we are, saying that we are committed, we're in this committed relationship, we're moving forward, then I think it's time to introduce them to the family. I know 2 cents.
Yeah.
What do you ladies say? Ingrid, Jada?
I agree with what Andrea just said. Once you have built that connection, you've cultivated a real relationship, not just the title, but the chemistry, the feelings, everything's there. You can see if this person, you see this person in your life long term, like, it's reciprocal, it's reciprocated. Both people are feeling the same thing. It's not one-sided. It's love. Yeah, I think that's time to let them meet your family. What's the hurt?
Well, we have to, I agree with both of you or everybody saying what we have to be careful to is if you have kids, especially young kids, you have to be extremely careful. So you have to pray for discernment and say, oh, when? And that's when that communication skills come in. And if he don't like kids, then So it's like, so you have to, just like you said, you have to know the character, and how he treats his mother, how he treats his mother is important, or his sisters, or the women in his, so that's really important key. So you watch for the sign. And if he's the type of person that doesn't get along with his female relatives or even the male relatives and stuff like that, then if he's belligerent and disrespectful, then that's somebody that you want to introduce, and you need to let him go on about his business. So I just think it's you just have to be mindful.
Absolutely. And I feel like, men, you out there and trying to figure this out. If a woman, she doesn't want to meet your family, she don't want to go to your church, she don't want to be, see you in other settings or want you to see her in other social settings, that's a red flag. This person is, someone you need to, back way off and really observe and think, and think about who this, because, someone who's trying to really consider you seriously, they want to see you in different social settings. They want to see who you spend your time with, who's your inner circle, who are the individuals pouring into you and giving you life advice, because these are going to be the same people when we pour into your life. If we make it to a certain point, are these people, you should be able to want to see that as the man and as the woman. Who are these? Who's your tribe? Is it a whole bunch of fools? There's probably, really, it's like, these are the people you listen to. I have some real concerns. Or they're surrounding themselves with people who really think and strive beyond their level, and they're trying
Right.
to obtain and push and be, surrounding themselves around people where they want to go. Is this the type of individual that's doing it? And that's for woman or man. And so that's important to want to, yeah, that should occur at some point sooner rather than later. When you're trying to make these decisions of, do I want to continue investing in this relationship and invest in myself? And I know it's easier said than done, but it's important to be as objective as possible in the beginning, because what happens when love Jones take over and those emotions, and you just go nuts, and the rational side of your brain shuts off, and you're in the euphoric state, and everything they say and do is wonderful. And it's natural to feel that way. It's natural to feel that way, like, oh my gosh, the way he looked at me, and that kind of stuff. These things
Girl, you be
are
telling yourself all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, when you're in that infatuation phase and your emotions are running high, these little things are significant to you, and you kind of lose that. So it's important to have a tribe around you throughout the process. Men, as considering women in your life, have that tribe around you that can say, "Hey, hold up, did you think about that? Or did you see that? Or ask about that, because you need that." And part of your tribe could be your parents, your pastor, your spiritual mentor. I wouldn't make it just all your friends. But others, others who you respect and admire. And these are the people that say, if they say, you believe it. And you stand on that. And if that's not something, if you don't have those kind of people in your tribe that you trust that much, their word is bound that much, and I don't know, maybe you need to expand your circle, or think about things differently. But any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that, ladies?
No, you hit it right on the head.
All right, so we are going through this so quickly. I hope our viewers are being blessed. They're chatting in questions. I want to make sure I'm not leaving our viewers out. We had a viewer that commented early on McCafe, thought that was too cheap. So we want to make sure that we put that up, and I think that was funny. Yes, I do believe it's a little too cheap for the McCafe lovers out there, but the frappe is delicious.
It is.
I must say the frappe is delicious. But yes, so we want to make sure we're not leaving out our viewers. Viewers who have comments and questions, please chat them in. We want to hear from you, and we're excited and thrilled that you are a part of this conversation and joining this conversation. As this panel of dynamic women, we're unpacking what men need to know about women in love and dating. And so we are unpacking these very big themes, broad themes, and we certainly can't get through all of it tonight, but we're doing our best. So as we're coming down to the final few moments, I certainly want to ask each one of our panelists to share, what advice do you have for men searching for a wife? What advice do you have for them? Everyone's going to get a chance to answer.
Okay. I feel like I didn't talk. I'll wait to the end. I'll let somebody else. I'll just go ahead and I'll wait till the end.
Gosh. Okay.
I'll wait.
All right. Well, the Bible tells us that to be anxious for nothing, and the man that finds a wife finds a good thing. I think it's important for you to be, to pray about it with everything, just to pray and ask God for direction, just like we pray for, like, oh man, I want that house, I want that car, I want this job, or whatever. You have to be intentional, and you want somebody that's going to be your ride or die through the good time and not the bad time, through all the time. So everybody can be with you when you're riding high, but when you lose loved ones, and you lose your job, or you're in a financial deficit or something like that, will this person still have your back? And so that's important. So you just pray and ask God for discernment and direction, or is this person for me? I mean, they can be fine and they can be all this and that, but it has to be a little bit more substance,
Right.
That's not too much. So that's that.
Absolutely.
Jada?
Jada, you're up next, Jada.
I would have to say for men who are looking for women to marry, I'd say approach it. I'd say be what you want to see. Like if you want a woman of certain quality, certain standard, certain value, you be that man first so that you can receive, so that you can attract what you want. Approach it with confidence, boldness, and intention. Know what you want. Don't settle on it. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And to add on to it, pray. That just heightens it. That heightens the chance of you getting exactly what you need in a partner.
Absolutely.
And the only advice I have for men searching for a wife is, I mean, definitely I agree with what Jada and Ingrid said. And just, you know, when you're searching for a wife, is to seek God in all things. Get to know yourself. Dig deep to resolve any hurt, pain that you've gone through, any traumas, anything that kind of plagues you. Because just like Jada was saying, you want to be the person that you're looking for. And a lot of times we're all going to carry a certain level of baggage and things. But I kind of feel like if you kind of clear your house out and, you know, clear your closet out a little bit, you come to the table a little bit more whole, you know, it'll definitely make for a better interactions and ship. And to love yourself, be happy with yourself and in your life, because you are the only one who's truly responsible for your happiness. And a wife adds to it, but she doesn't give it to you.
Absolutely. Can I get in y'all class? Because I'm trying to figure out these women. My God. Can I just get some crumbs from your table? My goodness. My viewers, I pray that you all have been blessed beyond measure by this conversation. If you're out there and you're listening, man or woman, know that everything, men and women, are created in God's image, and the essence of who we are is a reflection of the God, the Creator, that we serve. And so as you get to know women and study them, you get to know and see aspects of God that you may not have thought about or think about, and vice versa. When women study men, we get to find and see aspects of God like, God, you created him to be like that. There's something about you that I need to know there and understand. So I think women are valuable, men are valuable beyond measure. And I think if you're approaching it in a spiritual lens, rooting yourself in prayer, asking and seeking for what you want and you desire, and being wise and being open to opportunities, to meeting that special person. And also, if marriage is not something you've been called to, also knowing that you can still have a fulfilling, loving, vibrant life. So we are certainly not saying you have to be married, you have to be in a relationship, but there's much to learn, even through platonic friendships, about men and about women. I pray that everyone was blessed. Be blessed to be a blessing tonight. I want to thank all of our panelists, Ingrid, Jada, Andrea. You all were lovely. I would love to do this again with you all. You all were so funny. I've really enjoyed it. So again, viewers, we'll be back this time next week, Monday, 7:30, same time, same place. Be blessed to be a blessing. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.